Come on in the room. Box. Lose it tonight again, as usual. 124-112 to the Detroit basketball pit. Ooh, that's a nice grab. To the Detroit Pistons, 124-112. Pistons 19-5, Bucks 10-15. We're done doing the Doc Rivers anything. So just come on in the room. Appreciate you joining us. If you want to get at us on the YouTube in the chat, we'll talk to you there. Also on the Twitter at On Your T's Q's 973. But the Bucks don't find another game where they don't find a way to finish. And it's 124-112. Come on in the room. If you like that KPJ performance, hit the like button on your way in. But let's get started. And I agree, Chris, talking about right before the show. I don't think we should be long tonight. So we'll go through it. 32, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, 1 block for Kevin Porter Jr., 11 for 16, 7 of 9 from 3. He is absolutely phenomenal tonight. Excellent job. Ryan Rollins, 10.6 boards, 6 assists, 1 of 7 from 3, 4-14 on the night from the field. Was in foul trouble all game long. So he had some troubles staying on the floor, especially in that first half. Miles Turner was in foul trouble. Miles Turner is 6'11" officially. 1 rebound tonight on the game for him. Jericho Sims, highest flyer on the team. 2 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. Kuzma had an excellent first half, I thought. 15 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. 5 of 12 from the field. Bucks had their chances tonight. They absolutely had they had chances tonight, 100%. But it wasn't enough. Gary Trent Jr., 11 points, 1 board, 1 assist, 1 steal, 4 of 11 from the field. Gary Harris still getting 13 minutes somehow. Bobby Portis, 7.7 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, 2 for 11 from the field, 2 of 5 from the free throw line, 1. I mean, again, the biggest thing Bobby did all night was yell at fans in the front row, tell them about their mamas and all that. That's what Bobby Portis has become. I know Justin, that's what Bobby Portis has become, a sideshow character where you're just yelling at people in the stands, getting your ass whooped and yelling at people in the stands. Excuse me. Ajax, and then the bench unit came. Ajax actually got in the game a little earlier too, but the bench unit came in, actually played strong. Made it again. It was a 12-point game on the scoreboard, but it was much, much, much worse than that. Detroit thoroughly beat the Bucks tonight. Thompson 13, 8 and 6. Isaiah, we got again, and that's my problem with Bobby Portis. Isaiah Stewart is as much of a head case as anybody in the NBA. He out there 19.6. He out there shooting like with Bucks are missing AJ Green. Isaiah Stewart out there knocking down 3. Isaiah Stewart is a more valuable player than Bobby Portis. And I don't know if that was true. When did I'm trying to figure out when did that become true? Was it last year? Was it? And it's definitely true this year. I don't know at what point. Isaiah Stewart is a better basketball player than Bobby Portis. Same head case, same idiot. Same fool, but I can take again. It's real easy to take when you're 19-5. It's real easy to take when you put up 16 points on 6 of 8 shooting. It's real easy to take. It's just like the Chris Paul stuff. You can put up with some of the discussions from Chris Paul. And some of the issues that he brings to your team when he is playing like a top 5 point guard, when he's playing a top 5 point every player, you can put up with it. I'm not putting up with it when you're on the end of the bench and trying to change the defensive calls. Nobody's putting up with it. And that's where Bobby Portis has become. You're not good enough anymore to do that kind of stuff. Duncan Robinson, 7 points. Again, I thought the Bucks held Kate Cunningham. He did have 12 assists, but I thought they did a decent job on Kate Cunningham. It's the other guys. 19 for Stewart, 16 and 16 from Jalen Durant, 10 points from Ivy. You got 13 from Green. You got 10 rebounds from Paul Reed. That's your problem. And again, Paul Reed's 6'9", getting 10 rebounds on you. So you got to find ways, and the Bucks just aren't finding ways. Let me go to Super Chat. Steeler Face Super Chat says plus minus has been used as stat. Can somebody explain to me how KPJ looks elite but has the worst plus minus of the team? I don't get it, but what do I get? Is Turner a total pussy? 1 rebound. You're right. Again, plus minus is one of those stats that, sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. KPJ, the reason he was a minus 30 tonight was because he played the most. He played with some of those really bad units that were out there, and was the only person who could find a way to do anything on the floor tonight. So I think that's why he was a minus 30. And you had Rollins, who played a much worse game, was a minus 9. He was out with foul trouble during a lot of those runs, during a lot of those games. So, again, I agree with that. Is Turner a total pussy? 1 rebound? Well, when it comes to rebounding, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. He's, that's what he chooses not to. He's I don't know what to say. Again, and some of that, I know what we always talk about Doc Rivers. That's not Doc Rivers. That's just him. I get some of the zone rebounding. A little bit, again, I just talk about a little bit what I saw tonight. I'm not going to, belabor the points. I will say this. I thought in the first half and for parts of the second half, they competed. I did think the Bucks competed hard. I thought that they kept themselves in a fight that first half. To win these games without Giannis, though, you've got to have somebody who comes with KPJ, especially if you're going to get out-rebounded 53-36. I don't know. Again, it's hard to compete like that. It's hard to let me say this. It's hard to play a full 48 minutes and be in the game, especially against a team. Let's just face it. Without Giannis, the Detroit Pistons are a better basketball team than the Milwaukee Bucks. You could argue that with them, they're a better basketball team than the Milwaukee Bucks. But especially without him, you're not going to be able to compete when you're getting beat that badly in rebounding, unless somebody else offensively has an insane game. And you have Porter, who had 32, and you had Rollins, who basically stunk it up for most of the game. I thought he's okay in the second half, had a better second half than first half. But you can't live with Bobby Porter's going 2 for 11. That's not going to get it done at all. So again, it's just one of those things where every rebound goes the other way. The zone doesn't work. You got Isaiah Stewart. I don't know if you saw his interview at halftime, where this is the state of the Milwaukee Bucks. Other players, other teams, other coaches, they are sitting there. They are looking at the Bucks and saying, "You can't man up with us. You got to play." I talk about this. You can't play zone 40 minutes of a 48-minute game and think you better win a basketball. This ain't some college. This ain't some high school youth league where you're going to zone somebody. That's not how this works. And, again, that just can't be it. So John Horst has got to, again, December 15th can't come soon enough. And we're going to see, are the Bucks buy or sell? That's another conversation about what they're going to do at the deadline. But you got to do something. But even before deadline, you've got to do something else, because this roster – as currently constructed does not work, especially without Giannis. And you got to put yourself in contention for when Giannis comes back, for yourself to be able to make some type of a run. And but again, tonight was one of the things where you had a shot, you were in the fight, and you either have to make a decision to muck the game up. Like, I look at Andre Jackson, 3 rebounds in 11 minutes. Like that, again, maybe he has to play more. Because Gary Harris is out there running around. I don't know what Gary Harris is doing. But you've got to find something else, because you're short rebounds, long rebounds, off the front of the rim, back of the rim. It doesn't matter. They're getting – you give up offensive rebounds at every single turn. Every single turn. And then when you get the rebound, you push the ball at the floor and just carelessly throw it away, and the other team gets it. And then you give them another offensive rebound, and they hit the 3 off that. So, again, it was – I thought the effort in some spots were high, but when you're playing a team with the Detroit Pistons, who's clearly a better basketball team, you have to play with that intensity and effort for a full 48 minutes. The Bucks didn't, and it got away from them there in the third quarter. One more super chat. You want to see Randy says, not much to say tonight other than 76 and 70 for Doc. Soon to have a negative record. Zone an entire game is for sure an interesting choice. That's Glenn Rivers for you. Yeah, I mean, it is. And I'm sure he will say it's personnel, and that's why he's got to do that. But you got to sit down and guard. And again, these lineups of Bobby Portis at the 5 and Kuz at the 4. I'm just telling you, that's not going to work. You've got to find something. That's not going to work when your rim protection is Bobby Portis and Kyle Kuzma. Yeah, that's not going to work. Gary Harris playing 13 minutes. And again, I'll say this and I'll let it go. It's one thing for you to run around and do cardio for 13 minutes, but he's not even playing hard. Like, at least Andre Jackson Jr., for the entirety of while he's out there, he looks like he's running like a gazelle. Like, he's out there probably making mistakes or what, but I know he's going full speed. I say the same thing about Kyle Kuzma at times. Like, at least what I know about him is, for the majority of the time, Kuzma is out there running around hustling. Like, he is baseline to baseline running. Gary Harris, there was a time out there. I mean, dog, if you're not providing anything, there's a time where we gave a 3 because Gary, hand down, man down, not even really contesting. I'm just kind of lackadaisical. If you're going to do cardio, at least do cardio. If you're talking about cardio, when y'all talking about cardio, Kuz was actually working up a sweat. Gary out there jog. You doing cardio, you doing a jog. Nah. So, wasn't good enough tonight. 124-112. That's what I saw. Chris King, what'd you see?
This is a tough game that we kind of honestly expected to lose. Like, let's be honest here. We didn't think we would beat the Pistons twice in the same week. On Wednesday, I said that this zone, you got to be careful with it because the Pistons, we were just very fortunate that they didn't make those shots. But now, when Karis LeVert is making those shots, when everybody else down the line is making those shots, then you're obviously going to face a tougher game. And they did that tonight. A lot of open shooters and a lot of open makes. And that's, again, the difference between us and other teams. Look, Gary Trent Jr., has he figured it out yet? That's a no. Ryan Rollins, bad game from the field tonight. Bobby Portis, poor game from the field tonight. It's just nobody else really showed up to me outside of KPJ. And, when you're playing good teams, they're not going to probably miss as many threes as the Pistons missed on Wednesday. So, yeah, man, I just think, honestly, there's not much to analyze for me because I saw what was going on. It was the rebounding. It was the zone. It was the open looks. And Detroit made us pay. And we didn't get contributions elsewhere where we needed them. And so that's what I think ultimately led to our demise. But I will say there's some good things in spurts, right? There's some good things in spurts tonight that we saw. But, I mean, ultimately this team is just it's not consistent enough, nearly consistent enough to pull out wins like these without Giannis.
All right, here we go again. We tried.
Damn. We got Doc Rivers back on the program.
It's rough. All right, so Doc's post conference tonight. Rondo said that Ryan gets a lot more rope than what he gets, than what he got when he was young. But Ryan's so young, they need to watch a lot more tape. Said the team came out absolutely sad in the second half. First half was almost perfect. Scoring's going to be hard. This team needs to put 48 minutes together. The zone's struggling because Detroit's overloaded one side and just a bunch of mental fatigue on it. Detroit drove a lot more during the zone and set picks. Fouls are a big problem. That's why Miles was on the floor as much. Foul trouble. KPJ's playing amazing. Watching him play is like watching AAU. Bear with me, my bad. KPJ is smart. He's using his voice. Irony. And get a lot of criticism. And he can be coached better. Sims' next step is being able to run the pick and roll, and he's struggling to dribble handoffs. Lastly, he's moving practice up to 2 p.m. and letting the guys get out of town.
Oh, yeah, they don't need to go out of town. They need to stay their ass there and practice some more. Sorry, go ahead.
I think that the zone with Sims on the wing, we talked about it before he came on. That's tough. Put your best rebounder on the wing. Miles got to be better. You can't get fouls like that. And I agree with Chris. No one played good. You won't hear me making excuses for Bobby tonight. You won't hear me making excuses for Kuz tonight. Kuz had maybe the third best run on the team. Rollins. I think Bobby got into it with that fan in the first half, and he mentally checked out after that because he's too focused on that. And in order for us to win basketball games without Giannis, without Derry Bird, we got to be locked in. We weren't locked in.
Well, I also gotta expand on what Trey was talking about. If you guys haven't seen the Isaiah Stewart interview at halftime, go look that up. Go find that, and it really describes what we're seeing night in and night out. Like, these guys do not take a zone seriously. Like, these are NBA players. They're not gonna just miss threes all the time. I don't honestly around the league, how many teams are just like bad 3-point shooting teams outside the Bucks? Like, you're not going to find many NBA teams that sit at around like low 30%.
Well, Bucks are a good 3-point shooting team though. I think the numbers on that, they're pretty good at the three.
That's the thing though. We're bad everywhere else. We're also very inconsistent at it. So I think my main point there is just to say, like, all right, we're in a grown man's league, a professional league at this point, and you're leaving 3-point shooters open. I mean, what kind of college scout, overseas scout is looking for guys that can't shoot? Guys that can't shoot, you know where they go? They go to the G League. They go overseas. That's where they go. They don't go to the NBA. Like, let's be honest about that. There's very few players around the NBA that are just valuable, even if they don't have a 3-point shot. So, like, I think that's so insane to me that they just have no confidence in their personnel whatsoever to run man defense.
Yeah, it's just a problem that. And I don't know what Doc Rivers sees as to why we run. Again, I get some of the issue. I get some of why he thinks they can't guard. But again, to me, if you're talking about a math problem, I don't want to give up anything, but I'd rather give up 2s than 3s. And it's one of the things you just get. I mean, they're wide open. They're wide open. Like, let me just look and see what Detroit did tonight from 3. They were 15 of 40, 37.5%. The Bucks were actually 16 and 38. So they didn't get beat badly from the 3-point line, but it felt like the ones that they did hit were pretty timely. LeVert 3 of 5, Ivy was 3 for 3, Stewart was 3 for 5. Again, a lot of them came from the corners, and again, that's what hurts you. But again, that zone, it doesn't work because it gives up threes. I guess that's, and I think maybe he thought because it worked the night before, it worked the first night in Detroit, and I think it worked because Duncan Robinson wasn't on the court. Now again, Duncan was only 1 of 6 tonight, but again, he attracts a different type of he attracts a different level of defense and eyeballs when he's outside at the 3-point line. So just the mere fact, kind of like AJ Green, the threat of him out there opens up more. And then you look at, from a rebounder perspective, it doesn't work either. I think as well, even on the offensive glass, like the Bucks are a very weird team in which not only do they not rebound offensively, they don't crash the glass offensively, they also don't get back in transition very well. Like, how do you not do one or the other? Like, to me, if I'm Doc Rivers, let's just crash the glass. Why not? We don't get back anyway. So I don't understand the whole piece of it. It just never makes sense. I see some people asking for Jonathan Isaac on a rebounding perspective. I see people asking Jalen Johnson. Again, that's That's a pipe dream for things to happen. People saying Monica says Bobby Portis does not play winning basketball, especially if a guy in the stands can take you out of a game. Again, we did some of the things in there from the chat saying that the Bucks are the best three-point shooting team in the league. Their issue is, right, they don't do anything else right. They don't rebound. They don't defend.
Yeah, that was on me. That was on me for messing that up. But to me, it's just like, I mean, the way that obviously they built the team to shoot threes, and I got that wrong. I'll be honest about it. But the thing is, to me, like there's still a lot of holes, right? I saw a stat where it's like what KPJ's like 20 for 38 on threes this year. You got guys that are shooting at an all-time level for themselves, like AJ Green. I think is AJ Green leading three-point shooter in the league.
I believe he's number 2.
Number 2. Okay, so that's great and all, but look, you've got guys that are taking high volume as well that are missing a lot of shots. I'll say that Gary Trent Jr. is one of them. Miles Turner has been one of them up and down this year. So there's a lot of up and down, at least from what I see actually watching the games.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some up and down to it from what you're seeing, right? And to mention, you talking about a guy who's shooting the lights out of the ball. Kevin Porter Jr. is actually right now, and again, that's the other thing. This is I like KPJ. It's unsustainable. He's shooting 56% from 3 right now this year, and I don't even know if that counts tonight. But he is a career 35% 3-point shooter. And the funny thing is, before he came to the Bucks, he was actually shooting for the Clippers. He was shooting 24% before he came to Milwaukee. So that's kind of crazy what has happened with his game and how it's transcended. I asked you guys this question, before we because I do want to talk about the Giannis comments that came out from Chris Haynes before we wrap this too. But I think one of the best things about this for the Milwaukee Bucks is that we won't have to see this basketball team play until December 11th. And Doc Rivers mentioned he's going to let the guys go home early or what have you. And for the people in the chat that have been talking about schedule-wise and remember the 16-3, the whole 9, this is the part you got to figure this part out right here. Boston, Brooklyn, Toronto, Minnesota, Indiana, Memphis, Chicago, Charlotte, Washington, Charlotte, Sacramento. That gets you to January 4th, which would be around the and it's December 6th. That gets you around the 1 month mark for Giannis to come back. You've got to this is the season right here. And again, Detroit, Philly, Detroit, that's a tough little stretch. The rest of the stretch objectively is not I didn't even realize Justin wasn't there. The rest of the stretch is objectively not tough. Again, but the question is, are the Bucks even built to do anything to get themselves through this point with a winning record through the month of games? This is and again, this is such a tough place because this is where I really felt like that's why I kept going to 16-3. This is where I felt like Giannis was going to, again, you go 16-3, we're talking totally different about this basketball team. And this is the part of the schedule that the Milwaukee Bucks were supposed to dominate. And with the way KPJ is playing, I wholeheartedly believe the Bucks would have dominated this part of the schedule fully healthy. Now that they are not fully healthy, Chris, I see some people saying Giannis is never going to play with the Bucks. He's convinced, Steelers is convinced Giannis never plays with the Bucks again. Do they turn this around at all? Do they turn around? Is it 500 and you're still 4 or 5 games under when Giannis comes back? Which again, if you're 3, 4, 5 games under 500 when Giannis comes back, again, it ain't the best of things, but you're in okay shape to get yourself, back to doing something. Or does the bottom totally fall off?
I think they can relatively salvage the season a little bit. I think they're going to keep it competitive. I'm not sure it's going to look better than 500 at all. But I do think now that we know that KPJ has the consistency, he has the consistency so far since coming back. It's been, 28, 20-some, and 32, 3 straight games now. So I think he's going to get contributions elsewhere, and we see that they've been in games where they could come back and they could win these games if they change a little bit up with schematics on defense. But the rebounding is still an issue, and the inconsistencies of the other guys are still an issue. So I don't see them going over 500. I just believe that they will find spots to win games. They're still professionals. They're still the NBA. I don't see them going 0-10. I don't see that. I don't see them going 6-4. I see somewhere in the middle between that, to where it's still achievable if Giannis comes back and they can rattle some off. But the issue is we haven't seen them rattle anything off this season. It's been even consistent with Giannis in the lineup, inconsistent. So that's where I'm at with it. I don't think that the full bottom's going to fall off, but I don't believe they're going to be able to make up a lot of wins.
I see people in the chat. I disagree where they're saying that KPJ is gone. And again, this all depends upon the direction of the team as well. I think there are a lot of scenarios where KPJ is back. I do agree. Is he going to opt out? I believe so. I believe he has a player option. I believe he'll opt out. I think KPJ is at 25. He could be getting Kuz money, $25 million right now, the way he's playing. But again, this depends on where your basketball team is. If y'all are saying, again, when you say, well, KPJ's gone, well, again, y'all are also the same people telling me that Giannis is gone. And so if Giannis is gone, and if that means Giannis is gone, I don't know why Kuz would be here. I don't know why Bobby would be here. I don't know why Miles Turner would be here. If all those guys are gone, then I don't know why you wouldn't re-sign KPJ. So again, I slightly disagree that it's just some foregone conclusion that KPJ is just automatically gone, especially if Giannis is not here. But even if he is, again, I don't know. I haven't seen anything that tells me that Miles Turner has to be here throughout the. He doesn't provide enough for me to where you have to keep him in the lineup. Just to ask you the same question I asked Chris about, where this team is when Giannis comes back. And then we can kind of pivot, because I really don't have much to say about this game. We can kind of pivot to Giannis, the comments Giannis made with Chris Haynes.
We gotta beat the teams that last night we said we could beat. We're gonna lose to teams like Detroit, but probably even Boston. Just get as close as you can get to the 500 mark, and once we get closer to Giannis coming back, I think we go on a run. I still think we're a top 6 team in this East with 34 and with, what's his number now, 7 on the court playing together. The thing that scares me, though, is Giannis is not on this floor and growing with these guys, and that's where we're going to miss out on some of that communication. It's going to be some bumps in the road. It's going to be some ugly nights, and we can't afford to have Rollins and KPJ play bad at the same time. Turner is not a do-it-yourself guy. He needs someone to help him. Sorry.
No, you're good. He absolutely does need somebody to help him. And I think some of it is coaching as well. Some of the things that he needs. All right, I want to shift gears to the report last night that came out on Prime, where again our favorite guy Chris Haynes does get a little Haynes brief. He was and Justin, you mentioned it last night during the game or during the post game. He was talking on Prime, and you said he was talking about Giannis, and you said it was going to be interesting to see what he said. And basically, once we went off air, we found out what he said. And so, couple things, and I'm very curious. And I didn't in our group chat. I didn't give exactly because I really wanted to hear everybody's thoughts on air to talk this through. But I immediately had thoughts about what Giannis said. But we'll preface it. Yeah. So Chris Haynes said that Giannis. So he talked to Giannis, and Giannis said, reiterated a point that he made 5 years ago, where he said, "I see a wall. I want to run through a wall. I want to make things work in Milwaukee." That was comment one. And again, I preface it by saying I love Giannis. love what he is for the Bucks. But he's not without criticism, and I'll always hold guys' feet to the fire when I believe it's necessary. Because we talked about it too with JT and everybody. When we talked about, well, does Giannis need to make a statement? Should he say something? What should he say? That's the path we've been on. And as It's Mickey says, it's me, Mickey, in the chat. If he stops with, hey, Chris, I see a wall, I want to run through the wall and make things work with the Milwaukee Bucks. Full stop. I'm like, oh, he is committed. He's going to be a Milwaukee Buck for at least the rest of the season, and let's keep rolling with this thing. He doesn't stop. He leaves the door open, and he says, he gives the Lane Kiffin, where he goes, I don't know what's anything else. Anything else is happening behind the scenes between the Bucks and my representatives? I don't know. You know what that sounded like? Where is Cleese? That's what it said. I don't know. What, you woke up and Chris wasn't on the bus and you had no clue what was happening? Come on. Like, I'm just like, Giannis has got to understand this. You're not going to win a PR game if you leave Milwaukee. When your brand is loyalty and all, you have to accept that you're going to get blowback from leaving. That just is what it is, if that's what you choose to do. But you can't come and say you don't know what's happening behind the scenes. That doesn't make. That's what Lane Kiffin did when Lane Kiffin said, I don't know what my contract. You don't know what your contract says. You have no clue how much money you're making. I've never taken a job and didn't know how much money I've made. I don't know anybody who had anybody. Hey, how much they offer you? I don't know. That doesn't even make sense. So for you to say you don't know what's happening, you then give credibility to some of these reports that come. And Mark Gomes, Giannis ain't trying to win PR. Yes, he is. Yeah, he absolutely. Because otherwise, you don't make a statement. If you're not trying to, his whole brand is loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. I'm not running from the ground. That is his brand. He has done the PR thing. And his statement to Chris Haynes was to push back on this narrative that he's trying to leave or that he's spearheading discussions. And that's why you come out. Remember when Dame left, he came out and said, same thing to Chris thing. I didn't know Chris was gone. Damian Lillard. I had no clue Damian Lillard. I didn't know nothing. I was mad when Damian Lillard left. No, come on. You were mad when Damian Lillard left, but you also were looking forward to playing Miles Turner. Same thing with Drew Holiday. If you ask Giannis, don't know nothing that's going on in the organization. You would think he is literally a bum. Like he has no clue what's happening. And I don't, again, respectfully, I do not believe it. To say that you don't know what your representatives are doing behind the closed door, I'll say this now, and then I want to get your guys' thoughts. For a fact, I know that if Giannis Antetokounmpo does not open up discussions or want to leave or show signs he wants to leave, if he doesn't do that, the Milwaukee Bucks have zero intention of trading Giannis. So the only way they would open up conversations is if he wanted to go that route. That's the only way they would do this. So it's not going to work to try to play like you don't know what's happening. And again, that's what gives it some credibility. But I want to get your thoughts there on where on those comments. Was it enough? Did you like them? I will say at least I like that he addressed it. I like that he said something. But again, he to me he left the door open. That's where I stand on it.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of that. I think certainly glad that something was said and some clarity was given. I don't think it was the best move to give it to Chris Haynes. I don't think it was the best move to do it behind closed doors. I'd rather it be a statement from him because then that shows a little more being committed. But to me, I think the bigger thing is when you really kind of dive deep into that statement, it's like, okay, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors or you're trying to run through a wall for this team. Which I get, right? He's played hurt in some instances, but I think honestly he has to realize that some of this stuff is basically by his doing if all of our sources are correct. We talk about the firing of Adrian Griffin when they're 30-13. We just went on a whole rant last post game about how Adrian Griffin moving on, that might have been a little too premature. Talk about the Damian Lillard situation, getting him in the building, getting rid of some of the guys on the Bucks. Like, if Giannis was one of the ones that had some input into this, then I don't know how, like, you don't really know what's going on in the front office and how you're running down a wall when you've been hurt all the time and been part of the demise. I just don't get that part. I'd rather it just be a clean cut statement saying he wants to be here. It is leaving the door open for sure.
I was somewhat excited due to the fact that all the negative stuff we've heard, and it's been Shams and Wendy, and I think both those two dudes are doing their job though. Their job is to get us talking about this. Everybody, basketball fans across the world. This is better than saying nothing. Is it leave something to be lacked? Absolutely. But running through the wall is all I need to hear. You run through the wall. Let's run through it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Top 6 seed. I put 100 on it right now. Top 6 seed. And we go to the Eastern Conference Finals with Giannis back healthy with KPJ. The other creator he wants us to trade for is already on the roster.
Creator-wise, I mean, I'm fine. The Bucks still have hole. You got to find some rebound. You got to find rebounding, 100%. You got to find rebounding. There's no way around it. To make the run that you're talking about. But yeah, no. Again, it was an interesting comment. I think. And Monica says I don't think he made the statement. His agent's putting that out there. And I say this over and over again for everybody in chat. Agents work for players. It's not the other way around. The agent does. Your agents don't do anything you don't know about. If they do, they're a bad agent. If they do, you should fire them. Your agent works for you. It's not the other way around. Agents don't do anything without your player knowing about it or that they have approved of already. So when we talk about what's happened to agents, that is the agent is a direct. Again, the word agent. It's also representation. You are representing Giannis. That's how that works. So that's how I think about that when we talk about what's an agent, what he's doing. Okay, I'm looking at some other still faces. We're talking about some stuff about Adrian Griffin. Again, I'm not why he's not coaching or what he's done. I don't have anything to do. I don't know anything about what he's doing now, what he's done after. But I will say he did it. He ain't 76 and 70. I'll tell you that. Brother BKL Sports Entertainment Show says shout out to everyone in the chat, including the Cream City Crossover. Keep up the good work on the channel. Appreciate it. And shout out from South Bronx. Appreciate you out there in South Bronx. Good deal. All right. I give you guys, before I go to Twitter, and like I said, we're gonna keep this thing rolling. I'll give you guys another chance. If you anything else on this game, anything else on Giannis that you want to get to before we get to Twitter and start to wrap it a little bit.
I'm gonna save it.
Okay. All right, you can save it. All right, let's go to Twitter. Let's see what the people in Twitter land had to say. At OJ Muse says, I wonder if we could package Doc and Bobby together. At Bloodhound1 says the ship is going down. At T-Bone _315 says never thought it was possible to be worse than we were last year, but here we are. At BJM69 says the Pistons didn't play as sloppy in the second half tonight, and it showed that as hard as the Bucks play, they will need help from the other team to help them win. Both teams played it back-to-back tonight, and the Bucks didn't have the same energy. Good first half, but not the second. At JoJo24 Love says the Giannis fiasco and then injury may have sadly tanked the season. At AZIP70 said this team is such a disaster on so many levels, from Doc to Bobby to Trent to Turner to Kuzma. Team's not capable of doing all the little things right, which is a reflection of Glenn. Only guys I love watching are KPJ, Rollins, Green, sometimes Green, and Giannis, obviously. At Gurpit _Joe with some numbers says minus KPJ and Giannis, this team will not only be defensively challenged, they will also be offensively challenged. A couple more here. At Sunk345 says need Doc gone for his terrible coaching, Horst gone for his terrible drafting and roster construction. One reason why the bench is so bad is because we can't draft at all. Also, Bucks fans need to stop giving Bobby chance unless he plays defense and rebounds with effort. Middleton _ Stan says fire. And last one, we'll go Jesse James 814 says, I'm done watching this shit until Glenn is gone. I do one more. E-Ryan99 says KPJ is the real deal. The rest of the team are bums. I might be on the fire Doc agenda because why is Gary Harris playing that much? Dark days ahead with Scoot and maybe Ryan as our only light. So that was Twitter, a little negative there. Any thoughts there before we go? Jesus Christ, Steeler face 2-1 said Miles Turner got tampons for balls is insane. That's nasty work. See, that's nasty work. See, I ain't going that far. Missed kick from Ohio State. Anything there before we go to game balls?
Just gotta get healthy. I'm reserving judgment till we healthy.
Well, but here's the thing. Even on that, when we talk about being healthy, how late is too late? Because how late is too late to get healthy? Like what? Like if you're 10 games under 500, let's get healthy. What does it take to be healthy and still have something to play for? Because right now they're trending towards play-in tournament. That's what they're trending towards.
And I take my shots with 34 on the floor in a play-in tournament in a one-game winner go home. Now I just feel like we got to get top 10 and we're fine. And then the floodgates can open. Shout out to the Pacers fan that said that he or she tried to warn us. Well, one thing that you can appreciate is you guys were dirty hot dog water and then that switch flipped. And I'm sorry, no disrespect to y'all, but y'all definitely had nobody as good as 34 on that team last year, and they were able to flip that switch. I think Giannis is the type of guy that makes everybody's game pick up, and I can't wait for him to come back with a healthy KPJ, healthy Rollins. Let's go. Top 62 still.
At NRC Randy with a super chat says, he does know more than he lets on, but I think when Giannis goes to Horst to ask for help, but I know he doesn't know about the CBA and how financial things work. Giannis also has to be able to hold some leverage. No, 100%. Nobody's – I agree. Giannis is not going there crunching numbers and saying, hey, we got to trade this guy for this guy, and then you can, then we'll be under the apron. No, he's not doing – no, we agree. He's not doing that. But if he says, hey, I'd like to play with Damian Lillard, and then you walk that – like, again – if you give somebody a directive to do something, and then I do it, and I may have to do some shifting around and to make some things happen, but I did what you wanted. If I want a head coach and you want another, hey, I don't approve of him, and I got to bring you another list of coaches, then you influence the coaching decision. I'm not saying now. Am I saying that Giannis said I want Adrian Griffin, bring him to me? No, 100. No, Giannis. I don't even know if Giannis knew who Adrian Griffin was. Giannis did not go and seek Adrian Griffin out, but he disapproved of the coaches that were brought to him and gave a criteria of the type of coaches he may want. And then John Horst used that to go find, okay, well, let's go. I'm going to try and meet the criteria with, Giannis is not calling shots one for one, but he's giving direction. And then the front office tries to go make some of that happen. Did I think he goes and says, hey, we got to get rid of Damian Lillard? No. But when Giannis says, not that he said it in so many words, but I'm leaving if you don't compete, or I'm committed to the Bucks as long as you guys are committed to winning championships, that lets, if I'm John Horst, that tells me, remember the word from the summer? Gap year. Let's take a gap year. Well, if Giannis says, no, I want to compete, then that means I probably need to move Damian Lillard and wave and bring somebody in to try, because otherwise that money's just sitting there when I could be trying to use somebody to come in and compete. So again, I'm not saying that Giannis said, bring Miles Turner in for Dame. No, he's not doing that. But if you give the ownership a directive, I want X, we need to be competing, then I can't have $50 million sitting around doing nothing. Rehab. I can't have Damian Lillard rehab for $50 million. I got to go at least try to bring somebody in for that spot. And that's what John Horst went and did. So, I agree with you, NYC, but I'm just saying Giannis is giving directives, and then John Horst is acting based upon that is kind of how I'm kind of feeling about this and what it seems like is going on. All right, y'all want to do game balls?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, where you want to go?
In my back pocket. We out. If anybody would get it, it'd be KPJ, but mine go in the pocket.
Yeah, it gotta be KPJ for me. I think, look, like all the debate is settled. Like this is the guy. This is the guy in the backcourt that is dynamic, that is must see, that is going to, I think, create a lot of help alongside Giannis if we can get there. We just need to get there, and he needs some help elsewhere, right? Like Ryan Rollins can't be up and down. I know this is the first bad game, like really bad game in a while, but he's got to be great next to him. Like they're at this point, we have so little margin for error on this basketball team. AJ Green being out tonight, that even a game like this by KPJ, we can lose, and we can get not only lose, we can get crushed. And so that's why when you see that you've got some consistency with him, he's not only scoring, he's playmaking, he's rebounding, he's getting assists, he's setting guys up. He just needs some consistent ball players around him for this time being. And then when Giannis gets back, I think that'll look special. So KPJ, a.k.a. the one, not the two.
Oh, Justin, you said back pocket. Game ball for me. You know what? You know me, you got to win to get in. So the game ball for me is going to go to Isaiah Stewart. Because he talked the talk and walked the walk tonight. 19 points, 2 rebounds, 6 of 8 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3, plus 13. So that's why Isaiah Stewart gets my game ball, a.k.a. I'm crazy, a.k.a. Bobby don't scare me, a.k.a. I'm better than Bobby Portis. That's my game ball. All I care about is production. I don't care all the other stuff. I don't care about it. They should have been in Detroit screaming Stewart, but they don't do that for everybody. Everybody don't just get their name chanted all the time.
Let me ask you.
Go ahead.
So I bet you there's some of the same sentiments we have for Portis. Damn, for Stewart too.
Maybe.
In that case, he got thrown out last game, potentially cost him that game because they were short bigs. And he got a lot of games.
Yeah, but they're 19-5 though.
Yeah, they're doing a whole lot of winning. So those bad games become less when you're winning the basketball.
Right,
game.
And to your point, Bobby was doing the same kind of. And again, it's cute when you're winning. It's just like I got a 3-year-old right now. They be acting a fool. It's cuter. The younger you are, the cuter it is. I don't take some of the stuff I take from him. I take from my 5-year-old, and I damn sure don't take some of the stuff I take from the 3 or the 5-year-old that I take from the 8-year-old. It's not the back talk and it ain't cute when you 8. It works when you're 3. And so when you're winning, I can handle more. You losing, I have problems.
I just think Stewart is a type. And I know they winning a lot now. But these last 2 years, they want to run him out of Detroit. We only seen a couple games of Stewart. I know y'all watch other basketball, but I'm just saying, I think they're a wash, personally. I think they're the same player.
And maybe they are, but again, in one of the groups he's winning. But you're probably right. I will say Isaiah Stewart is much better defensively. And I would agree that Bobby Portis is on average a better offensive player. So they do a little bit different. They have a little bit different of a style. Like I said, Stewart is 10 times the defender. Bobby is the better offensive player. But Stewart, again, I give Stewart a lot of credit for working on his game, being able to hit that 3-point shot. There was the other thing I just want to go ahead.
I take Bobby in the fight too.
I don't know.
Ask Miritich about it.
Oh yeah, I know. I get that piece. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Soft.
I think that'd be a good one. I think that'd be a good one. I did want to mention I saw some Dustin Wagner in chat saying about John Horst talking about the drafting of Giannis, and he was over there, and he wasn't the right hand man to Hammond. The right hand man to Hammond was Zanuck, and Zanuck ended up going. Is he in Utah? Or he went to Utah. He might have got fired already from there. I'm not. Is he still in Utah? I don't know what happened to him, but it was Zanuck. And then, what actually happened, the way they got John Horst was a couple levels down, and this is when they had the new ownership group was there with Lasry, Edens, and the other guy. I can't remember his name either. But if you recall, the way their ownership structure worked, all three had to agree on any major decisions, and they all couldn't agree on Zanuck. And that's how, and because Zanuck was basically a shoe-in to get the job once Hammond left. And once they all couldn't agree, they had to find somebody they all agreed on. And it actually went down a couple levels to get down to John Horst, which all three people felt comfortable about. So John Horst actually kind of skipped some levels to get his role. And it happened because the ownership group had those changes.
Zanuck's still in Utah.
He's still in Utah. Okay, got it. So yeah, that's how that happened. All right, let's go to, and I see Liger. I know what you're talking about. Peter Fagan. Fagan is more on the business side. I don't know if that was what that was in response to. But yes, no, I agree. Dustin, yes, Horst was definitely in on the Giannis stuff. But it was just at a lower level than where Zanuck was as far as where he was in the organization. Pistons beat the Bucks tonight, 124-112. Nets beat the Pelicans tonight. Again, the Nets are, again, we got the Nets coming up too. The Nets are 4 wins back in the win column than the Bucks. Like, we think of the Nets as being ass. They ain't close to being up on our ass. The Wizards lose to the Hawks. Pause. 131-116. Man, that man, Jalen Johnson, is serious. 30 points, 12 rebounds. Is that a back-to-back triple? Do you have a triple-double the other night, too?
I believe you're right.
Sheesh.
Nicolay High School.
Yeah, and they're doing, and again, this is what I'm talking about as far as winning. The Hawks are playing some good ball. No Trae Young. They beat the Wizards. Let's check in on our favorite guys. Oh, Chris Middleton didn't play. And A.J. Johnson got 1 minute and 30 seconds, like he had some garbage time, didn't accumulate any stats. Wizards, another team starting to struggle. You look at the Cavaliers, they're 14-11 right now. People expect them to be much better than they are. They lose to the Warriors. Warriors tonight did not have Draymond Green, did not have Jimmy Butler, did not have Steph Curry, and they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 99-94. So that's a very bad loss for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Kings beat the Heat tonight, 127-111. That's an interesting result there. I think that let me see his stats. 42 from Zach LaVine. So that's an interesting result. Result with the Kings. Timberwolves beat the Clippers tonight, and the Mavericks beat the Rockets 122-109. Anthony Davis, 29 points, 8 rebounds. He's come up a lot in our chat for some reason. All right, I got some questions about some NFL games in the chat. Before we go to that, anything else you guys got? Look around. Indiana's up 13-10 over Ohio State late in the fourth quarter. They're trying to milk the clock and run this game out. You had BYU get blown out by Texas Tech. You had
Georgia.
Who else? Georgia blew out Alabama. I asked you guys that too. And again, it goes back to if you are Alabama's got to get in because if you don't get into your Alabama, and again, I say it goes back and forth. What incentive is there to play your conference championship game? If I could sit idle and be in, why would I play the conference championship game? I would might as well start. Teams might as well decline it.
Yep.
I think with BYU getting blown out, they'll be fine.
Well, yeah, and then obviously you're gonna flip flop Ohio State and Indiana when Indiana wins this game, so they matter just a little bit when you need them to matter, because everybody would throw a fit if Indiana remains 2, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think they should be punished, but that was a absolute drubbing that Alabama just caught, and that's the second time they lost to them.
From a really good team. And by the way, the ACC championship, Duke is about to have Duke is going to be 8-5 and win the ACC, which is interesting. Well, they're up 20-10 right now, late in the fourth.
And that gives James Madison a shot to make the playoffs now, potentially.
Yeah.
Do you see
system.
Ohio State and Indiana both getting buys?
Yeah, I mean, I think you move Ohio State down to 2 at most. Look at the game's 13-10. Either way, coin flip. And then yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. The whole thing about ACC championship, they may not get in the group of 5. Man, just take the Power 4 conference championship winners. Even if the ACC is at a down year, just trust your gut. Trust the conferences that have proved it over the years that they can be good. Take those guys and then leave the rest to who are the best teams. I don't need to see Boise State from last year, although they had Genty. That was nice, but they lost pretty handedly. I don't need to see Tulane this year or James Madison. We probably know how that's going to go.
Yeah. Yeah, it will make for some interesting debate and discussion. Like you mentioned, James Madison beating Troy in the Sun Belt title game.
Troy had him.
Say again?
Troy had him.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't make a kick. And then James Madison just did what they did.
Does Miami get in?
I think you're gonna roll. I think you're gonna roll with. I think you're gonna roll with probably Alabama at 10-2. I think you're gonna roll with. Oof, hasn't Miami's been in, right? But I think Notre Dame. I think they'll roll with Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame roll. So Notre Dame, Miami get in.
And then instead of the AC, well, can they do that though? Instead of the ACC championship team in there, and then go grab Miami instead.
Yeah, so that's what. So there's no way you're not putting Duke's not getting in. So
5 losses.
But that's insane though to do that though. That's insane. The team that won the conference and the team that couldn't even get into the conference championship gets in. I don't know. Vandy might find their way. I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do. But I think it's tough again. The Ace, if you're the ACC as a conference, if you don't get one team in, what you might as well be you're not in that power. You're not there. What is your point if you can't? And again, you talk about negative recruiting. If I'm SEC, if I'm another conference, I'm an ACC. Why would you go to ACC? You can win the conference there. It doesn't matter. Their conference means nothing. You can't get the playoffs like that. So it's interesting to see what will happen and how that works. But they will have some interesting decisions to make. NFL wise tomorrow. What are you guys thinking? What are you looking forward to? What are you thinking about goes on in the NFL? And yeah, we know big week for the Green Bay Packers with Chicago Bears.
That'll be a good one. I think Caleb's doing pretty well. As much as you might hate to admit it, he's finding ways to win. And I think that'll certainly be a good one. I'm also interested to see how the Bengals do. That whole AFC North is just terrible. So that division I'm keeping an eye on, seeing if the Bengals can keep building off of getting Joe Burrow back. Carolina's got a bye. That sucks.
I like it.
Yeah. Oh, it's certainly good for this late in the season. But I enjoy watching Bryce Young and Rico Dowdle cook. That's what I'll say. So, yeah, that's about it for me on the NFL. It's been kind of underwhelming season, honestly.
You think so? It's interesting because I look at I would say you said it's been underwhelming. I think it's different this year because I think it is.
It's wide open.
It is wide open.
The games haven't been. Like, I think the best game was probably week 1 with the Bills and the Ravens at one game. I haven't really seen any these are movies I'm watching. Nah, they're not that.
It's just as wide open as it's ever been. Like you said, from week to week, any team can win it all. I don't think anybody overpowers anybody right now in either conference. Like I said, if you were to put me in a coma and wake up, there's probably 7-8 teams. I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, oh, they won it all this year. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how it goes. And again, I still halfway expect the Chiefs to run the table to end the year, and we'll see what happens with them. They definitely got to beat the Texans this week, so it'll be interesting.
So with the Bears, funny my voice leaves in there all the way now. I think Odunze being out is going to be big. He's a second safety valve for Caleb Williams. Losing Delonte Wyatt hurts the Packers tremendously. With that two-headed running monster coming in there, it's going to be a slobber knocker. Strap up, get ready to play football. Ben Johnson popping his stuff all off season. It's a whole lot to play for. I hope the Packers bring it. You got the opportunity. Jay Love do another multi-touchdown game. He could be in that MVP race in the next couple of weeks. With who we got coming up.
Absolutely. And I expect I do expect the Packers to beat the Chicago Bears tomorrow afternoon. We'll see how that works. Just looking, I might be behind. Looking at this final play, Ohio State, and how did he catch that? Interesting. That's gonna be it. 13-10. Indiana gets the dub. Okay, so that's interesting too. All right. Anything else you guys got before we wrap it? And again, I tell you what, the other good thing is you don't have to see we don't have to watch the Bucks play bad basketball till Thursday. So shout out to the you get your voice back and everything. So shout out to it comes at an opportune time with Giannis out and some of the injuries the Bucks have. They're gonna get an opportunity to get some rest and try to regroup and recoup. To try to get this thing on the right track.
Only thing I try to say is just hang in there with the Bucks, with us. Sky's not falling yet. It's starting to get a little cloudy though.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Gotta find some consistency. Hopefully the break does wonders for this team. Get healthy a little bit more. And do your thing. Try to be out there with some consistency. Try to help guys out that are showing up nightly, and see where this gets you.
All right, good deal. Got some comments about the Packers in the chat. Dustin Wang says, "Go Pack." Going to be interesting to see how this Giannis saga unfolds over the next 3 weeks. I assure you, if they do not make a move on the 15th or shortly after, Giannis is gone. We'll see how that works. Again, if anything pops off, of course we'll jump on and have some discussions about it. Someone trade next week. Today's the 6th. When is the 15th? The 15th isn't until so it's 2 weeks. So I see people talking about next week. So it won't happen next week unless you're counting today as Sunday. We're not yet at midnight on the East Coast. I in a couple weeks, I don't know. 15th. I do expect. I do wonder what kind of movement you'll see early in the trade deadline before you get too late. But, we will see. There will be some movement all over the league come December 15th when guys are trade eligible. You got something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a quick draw. 10 to 12 more games without Giannis, our impact player. We got impact players. Ryan Rollins and KPJ. They just got to show up and hoop every night. We got 2 impact players.
And they have to hoop at the same time. I agree. It can't just be one. They got to hoop at the same time, especially if you're not going to grab rebounds and not defend at a high level, which the Bucks have not shown the propensity to do just yet. All right, we'll end it there. We appreciate everybody for joining us tonight. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us as usual, and we appreciate it 100%. Appreciate all the super chats, all the love, all the comments on Twitter, on YouTube, wherever you listen and watch us here at the CCC. Again, if you didn't hit that like button on the way in, please hit that like button on the way out of here, because we just appreciate you being here, and that helps us a great tremendous bit. If you can, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend about the Cream City crossover. It is the best Milwaukee Bucks post-game show in all of the land. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Dustin says have a great. Yeah, we'll see you again. Got a nice long break from seeing us. So we'll see you guys next Thursday. Or this Thursday coming up. That'll be fun. See if there's a new mindset for this basketball team. This has been a Cream City Media Group production.
Chris King.
Justin.
If I am your enemy, it's only because I dare to tell you the truth. Don't take no wooden nickel.